I'm going to introduce our coach speaker today. So tag your coaches because this is really important because she has only been coaching a little over 2 years. And you know what that means is that she's still kind of new in this business, but I love what she's doing. And I want you to hear how she's getting people started. Her team name is Team Pure Plus Power or Pure in Power. Well, she'll correct me. Pure Plus Power. She is a 5-star diamond coach, which is really, really impressive. She's been a premier coach and an elite coach. She has hit Success Club 27 months in a row, which I believe is every single month she has been a coach. So you guys, I want you to jump into this call, engage with this call, listen to this coach speaker. She's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. You guys, Christine Taylor. Yay! Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here.
What's the name of your team, Christine?
You were right. Team Pure Plus Power.
Okay. Yeah. Team Pure Plus Power. I love it. Okay. Tongue twisters on a Monday morning. Yeah. So you've been coaching about 2 years, right? There was a moment in this 2 years where you had kind of a wake-up call about what you were doing. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about that?
Okay. So before becoming a Beachbody coach, I taught first grade and actually ran a boot camp company in the morning. But after several moves and having babies, I was ready to rebuild my fitness center life, and Beachbody was a perfect avenue for me to do just that. So my business really began to take off about 8 months into this business. So I had gone on to hit diamond quickly, but it wasn't until I started talking about the coaching opportunity and really diving into that and focusing on that my business began to grow. I was hosting monthly mentorship programs and I was doing coaching sneak peeks, but it took several months of that before people decided to really jump on with me. So eventually I had 2 other mamas decide to join me and start coaching. That was the turning point for me. I really realized the love and passion I had for helping other women get started as a new coach. I wanted them to find the exact same success I had because I knew it was possible. So I found myself putting back on my teaching hat and was determined to help lead and guide them and help each of them find the same success from day one. I believe it starts on day one. So I was going to do whatever it took. By this summer, both of them had gone on to hit diamond. And within our first year, we were officially a 2-star premier team, which led us, that's when I took off. And that's where the excitement came for me.
Okay, so 8 months in is when it kind of took off for you. So before that, you were just kind of piddling around, you were doing sneak peeks and stuff like that. But yes, it's really when you took a deeper interest and put on your teaching hat, which if you watch the wake-up call, you know how much I love teachers and I think that they're great at coaches as well. So when you put on your teaching hat, is that when things kind of took off for you?
Yes, and I think just sticking with doing the coaching mentorship, doing the coaching sneak peeks and offering the coaching mentorship program, because for me, it took multiple months of me like talking about it and offering that and talking about the coaching opportunity before people really decided to come join me. So I started 3 months in, but it wasn't until 8 months in that people really started going, okay, I'm really interested in what she has to offer. So it was sort of me never giving up and continuing to talk about it month after month.
Okay. Well, I think that we know that when you plant the seeds, like the fruit doesn't come right away. Okay. So we know that 8 months for you, it could be 8 days for other people. It could be 8 years for other people. I think it is just when you finally hit that stride, what were you doing? And so that's the next part of the interview is that let's take us into the topic that I had given you was how do you get people started? But what I learned from you is that it's not as simple as just, do this, do that. You created a certain system for yourself. So share that.
Okay, yes. So this topic is extremely personal to me because I truly believe that if we get our coaches started right from the very beginning, then they're more likely to stick around and become lifers. From my experience, I've also learned that it doesn't take loads and loads of coaches to be successful. It takes a handful of women that are willing to work with you and that are willing to be students and willing to work hard. And I feel like that if I can help my coaches get started right from the start, then they are able to go and duplicate this themselves and become leaders themselves, which is what I want. I want all my coaches to be holding hands with me and us all be doing this together. So my very first strategy for getting coaches started right, it begins with BODgroups. So every coach that I have that comes on, they actually host their very first BODgroup their very first month. And I know this is actually different than how other people might do it. But for me, I have found having my coaches run their own BODgroups from the very beginning puts so much ownership and leadership into them. Like they feel like they're in charge. It's not me in charge, they're in charge of it. And so that has been a huge key factor for me, is having them actually jump in and just host their BODgroups from the very start, even if they only have a couple of people. And so I do provide them the resources and the tools for their first month to get started so they do know how to run a group. And so with that, it also helps them be able to go on and help 3 people, I feel like a little easier, because now they have taken ownership of their BODgroup. So they are feeling like they definitely need to go find those 3 people in order to get their group off and going. And so that's how every single coach that's come on with me, we have done it, is they start their own BODgroup from the very, very beginning. My next strategy that has really worked for my team and I is giving my coaches just very simple tasks. So I find sometimes when we throw our coaches all of it at once, it can become very overwhelming. And so for me, I break everything down, and it's just super simple, and it's daily simple tasks. Now, if I have a fast-paced learner come in and they're just ready to go, I do have self-paced training guides that they can just go learn it all right then. But what I have found is most coaches would rather be given it in little chunks and daily tasks than all at once. So some of the action items that I have my coaches do is obviously picking out their workout program from the very beginning and committing to that and sharing it, through social media, creating their coming out post, picking their personal development book. That is huge for me. And then one of the things that I like to do is I encourage them within 2 weeks pretty much of joining me. I say, I want you to go find one person that can join you. Because what I have found is sometimes when we say, go invite 20 or go invite 10, sometimes, especially for new coaches, that's super overwhelming. But if I can say, go find one person and come back to me, because that's literally what I do, is I say, go find one person and come back to me. Everyone has typically one family member or one close friend that is willing to do this with them. So what that does is it automatically gives them that confidence from the start, because they're like, okay, I can do this. Like, I've got this. And so from that moment, I walk them through Share a Cart. And then now it's easier for me to go, okay, now go find 2 more people or 3 more people, because they have that ownership and confidence right from the start. And then we talk about the daily behavior. So sharing their journey on stories, sharing their journey through posts, making for sure they're sharing workout clips on a daily basis, beginning to use polls and drop, the email boxes inside of stories. I tell my coaches all the time, it takes 7 times for people to have to see something before they say yes. So I encourage them to be dropping polls every other day on their stories and inviting, because truly, I believe it takes multiple times for people to see an invite before they're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. So we talk about that. And then we also talk about what they can share on their stories. For example, we have the sample workouts. So show a picture of the sample workouts and have people drop their email addresses in order to get it. This helps them get an email base that they have now people they can go to and follow up and invite to their challenge groups because they've gotten the sample workouts. And then just focusing on like the 3 to 4 posts a week through their feed. I know that the goal for all of us as coaches is to post daily, but I feel like for new coaches, I think there has to be a little bit of that, like, just at least do 3 posts this week. I feel like when we start simpler, then they can build on that and they become building blocks. Then they can go and they can post every single day because they start learning the foundations and the skills right from the start. And then, of course, inviting. So we all know that that's a huge piece of this, but I feel like that once they have that first person, they start getting their feet wet in it. It becomes a little easier to go and invite. And then my third strategy that has worked really well for my coaches is just focusing on that goal of Emerald and Success Starter. So Sandy said to me, "Why Emerald, Christine?" And I was like, well, honestly, there's a lot to Emerald, in my opinion. I mean, of course, we all know it's the first rank, but it's a smaller goal. So it's something that is attainable from the start. And I think it's super important that we're putting and giving our new coaches a very small goal at the very beginning so they know what they're working towards. And so giving them giving that goal of Emerald is just bringing on 2 people. And so if you look at it that way, is you're just bringing on 2 people, it's a lot easier to wrap your head around. So it becomes their first rank. And then also with that, they begin to team cycle bonus, which I think is huge because it's getting money back into our coaches' pockets. And then they also are getting customer leads, which is also huge. So I think all of those pieces it's super important for us to lead sort of with that smaller goal of Emerald, because then you can build from it. And then of course, Success Starter. So Emerald and Success Starter is like the very first 2 goals. I typically have people say, like, what do you do with your new coaches? Their very first call, we talk about Emerald and Success Starter because it is the building blocks to grow. And so if we can hit those 2, then they can grow on to bigger and, way huger goals as Diamond and 1-star and 2-star. So I feel like that my whole take on it is just starting super small with them, but letting them have a goal that they can attain from the very, very beginning.
I have so many notes here because before you go on to the end, I love the brilliant idea of the sample workout because you're capturing their email, but you're also letting them kind of taste the goods there. That seems to work for you.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And the other thing is that your small goals of hitting Emerald and Success Starters. So Emerald is a rank advancement. And rank advancement comes from bringing on people who want to coach as well. Success Starter is helping customers. So it's the dual activities of you are still bringing in customers and getting them to the total solution, and you are still looking at recruiting coaches. So those goals, how did you know to do that as a new coach? Because you're still kind of new in this business. So how did you know that those goals were important for people to grow in this business?
So honestly, I would say for myself, I actually am a quick learner, and I'm also the type of person that I just take charge very quickly because that's just sort of my nature. And so I noticed that, like Emerald, if you can figure out how to get to Emerald, then you're obviously gaining a couple of people to come do this with you. And I knew that was important in order to grow this business. And so, when you say, how did you know to start there? I sort of just knew, like, that's the first stepping stone into this business, in my opinion, because it's helping you move the ball forward. It's helping you move your business forward right from the start. And Success Starter is huge to me because if we can help our coaches, hit and get those 3 people a month, then they're already getting closer and closer to other huge goals without them even knowing it, by just focusing on 3 people a month. And so how did I know is just, I think it's just sort of knowing that those are the basics. Those are the little things that we can start with because if that becomes simple for them, then they can go on to huge goals.
Okay, that was an excellent answer. So your simple system, and I was talking to you about it this morning, that when it all boils down to everything, every interview I've ever done, it's two things about coaching. It is about the mental fortitude to keep doing what you're doing, right? To keep that hat on. And if you enjoy the work, keep doing it. And then secondly is the, oh my gosh, that just flew out of my head.
Just went blank for a second.
I just went blank for a second. And the mental fortitude and having a system in place. Now you don't become a coach and just have a system. You just decided that leading a BOD group was the first thing, right? Having simple tasks to do daily and having the goal of Emerald and Success Starter.
Yes.
That to me is a system. So we may think that this is so overwhelming. We don't have a system, but you really do, because you're a newer coach and you just said, you know what? BOD groups is the way to lead. It's simple, it's easy. And that's how you build confidence. And then the small little tasks like sending a sample workout, posting daily, those small, simple tasks, and the goals. Like you just created something so simple, it's not overwhelming. And I feel like this audience is really appreciative of that. So now let's go to the closing interview question. And that is about, what do you think that you needed to bring to the table to be at this successful 5-star diamond coach you are now? You had to have something in you, in your character, that you brought to the table.
Yes. So like I said, 3 months into hitting diamond, that same month, I decided to start throwing out to the world that I was going to start hosting a mentorship program. And to be honest, so many people could be like, you're a brand new coach. How are you going to coach others? Why would anyone want to join me? Honestly, but the short answer for me was my confidence and my determination. For me, I not only wanted to build a successful business for myself, but I wanted to share this opportunity with others. And if I was going to fall, I wanted to fall forward. So even though I was only 3 months into coaching, I was ready to go. I was ready to throw it out to the world. Like, I want to help other people do this. So let's be honest. No one showed up that very first month for me. I mean, I had only been coaching for 3 months, but I wanted to offer it. So what I did was, month after month, I was like, okay, I am launching I remember my very first month was October, and I was like, I'm launching an October mentorship group, because I was so excited about the opportunity I had been given, and I wanted to help others. And so no one showed up. And then I will never forget, the next month in November, I did the exact same thing. I was like, okay, launching my November mentorship program, spots are open. No one came. And I did it again in December. And so for me, it's funny. I look back and I'm like, I did that month after month. And I think so many of us just quit, right? We're like, this isn't working, so I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to give up. So I had a choice right then. I could have quit because I wasn't having people come and say, yeah, I want to join you. Or I could persevere and pick myself up and keep going. And that's exactly what I did. I finally found people to join me, and the rest is history. Honestly, my confidence told me that I would eventually gain traction if I continued to show up daily, if I was continue to be consistent, and I would find my people and I would begin to build a team. Had I not have persevered through the difficult times that we all hit, I would not be where I am today. So I could sit here and just preach that, about my confidence and perseverance and determination as if it was just easy and as if it was just traits I had all along. But that would not be the truth. I honestly had to work on these skills, and I had to work on creating a mindset that no matter what happened and how hard the times get, I didn't give up. I had to persevere and keep going. So one of the ways that I would get my mindset right was to read. I read devotionals, and business books. So one of the very first books I read was The Slightest Edge. And if you've not read that book, I would all get in your Amazon account and go buy The Slightest Edge, because for me, it was life-changing. I really realized that I was capable of anything. And I knew that I could create a successful business, but I also felt like I was capable of anything in life, like beyond this business. And so it might sound corny or cheesy, but I promise that if you can get your mindset right, it will be one of the most impactful actions you can do for yourself, for this business, and for your life. Because for me, it is a game changer. And now I can't imagine not reading personal development books, because it's what keeps me going on a daily basis, because we're all going to hit bumps in the road.
Well, I am just like trying to answer people. It's The Slight Edge, but I think that you just wrote your new book and it's called The Slightest Edge by Jeff Olson. I loved what you said. And I don't know if this audience knows about the history of Carl Daikeler and P90X. And I'll say it in just a few words. And that is, that was like the game-changing program that put Beachbody on the map. And he kept building this infomercial, and it never was hitting with any focus groups or any audience. People were like, no one is going to do a hard workout at home for that long with this guy. And Carl tweaked that program, I think it's 27 times, when the way that he tells the story, until it finally became a blockbuster hit. People are not ready for you at all times. You have to be ready for yourself. And you kept going out there every single time and doing sneak peeks, even when no one was showing. Yes. And you were getting better at it. And yes. And I'm just so impressed that you used your teaching skills and your determination to just keep doing what you wanted to do until people were ready to jump on with you. Yes. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was really great. I loved working with you, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Wow, that was so good. I know a lot of you want to go back and listen to this again. I'm not sure I can put the podcast up today, but you can go back here to Facebook Live and rewatch. But I just wanted to say thank you to Christine. That was so really refreshing. And you guys have a great week, and I'll see you here next week. All right. Bye-bye.